Welcome back to topic 4 of episode 4 of the Anime Chatcast, where we're going to be talking about anime movies and how they're slowly becoming more part of the Western culture. Specifically, starting off with a movie called Your Name.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yes, I have.
I hope you've seen this. So, Your Name was a weird phenomenon over the last year or so.
Yeah, about so, yeah.
Yeah, it came out and went straight into cinemas here, specifically in Australia. Like, it blew up.
Well,
I've heard so many people outside of anime talking about this movie.
I mean, it sold really well in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, if it sells really well in Japan, then they'll test it out in in USA. Sells there really well, then they do it globally. It's sort of the pattern I've seen them.
And that's why I wanted to bring up this topic specifically with you, because you understand this stuff way better than me. This is merely an observation I've seen, because it felt like that movie was in cinema for about 6 months.
Yeah, a very long time. I think it just
blew up.
It's on the comparison. I'll compare it to Spirited Away and how that was sort of done.
That was sort of the first real Japanese movie
that actually won an award.
Really came over to the Western culture in a big way.
It was won an award in the Academy Awards or whatever.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it was the first one to ever do that, and
insane.
I think that greatly helped the anime industry. As soon as that happened, they went, well, maybe we can actually...
I think it made people really pay attention to what was happening.
We can actually use anime and, like, it's profitable. It's not just some really niche thing, like a lot of people like assume it to be.
For sure.
But, yeah, like, Your Name, it was just a story that was really well done, and it was just really easily digestible for the Western culture.
It was something that was easy to follow. It wasn't your typical anime craziness.
Yeah.
It was just a weird coincidence that was happening with two completely unknown strangers.
I feel like they're I think they're doing a live action version of it. I hope not. Yeah, I hope not.
We've already talked about what we think about live action anime. If you'd like to see that, check out our previous podcasts. Shameless plug.
Yeah, it's not done well. In most cases, not done well because it's
difficult
because they don't choose the right people to do it. It's either if a Japanese company does it, they just pick all Asian characters. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No, especially since it's based in Japan, the movie.
Yeah, but something we touched upon was Full Metal Alchemist, the live action version of it. Probably, maybe white characters would have actually been a decent pick for that.
It comes down to
because the characters in the anime
not playing favourites about where the movie came from and playing favourites about where the movie is based. So Your Name could actually be alright, considering it is just a personal drama between two high schoolers.
Yes, and that's an easy thing to replicate.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that is why it kind of took on the fame that it did, because that story is easily seen no matter what culture you're in.
Yeah, it's digestible for any sort of culture. It's just if you put out that story in any other format, you'd still find something you'd like about it, and you'll be able to watch about it. So yeah, in that regard, that's the reason why it's sort of getting more popular, I guess. But what other questions?
Do you think there's it's pretty much an interview at this point, because you know more about this culture than anyone I know. So do you think this has sort of opened a floodgate for more movies to come in? I know Silent Voice sort of picked up pretty well. I'm not really sure how that one did in Western cultures, but I know that was one that after Your Name was really heavily pushed, especially by Crunchyroll and Anime Lab. They were really pushing, hey, this has a release date in your country on this day, go see it. Do you think that now that there has been a success, that they're going to continue trying to make movies for Western audiences, maybe even subverting anime's storytelling devices?
I don't think they're going to push for that.
Or do you think it's just luck?
It's luck. They're not going to push for that, because if they were going to push for it, they would have pushed for it right after the Spirited Away and tried to do something the same as that. It's just a story. It's just a really good story. They marketed it properly, and they knew how to push it.
Funny that good stories transcend culture.
Yeah, So yeah, whatever the story, if it's a good story, then everyone's going to like it, obviously. But I mean, the way anime is done because it's just so different to Western culture.
Sure.
Some people like it. There's a group that likes it, and then you'll have the majority of your nation or whatever who will just be like, I don't really like that sort of. Yeah, it's just no.
The same reason people don't go to see kids' movies, because they're animated and they look dumb. Like, I didn't go to see... I barely watch kids' movies unless it's The Incredibles 2.
Yeah, I watch
or unless I'm forced to go with younger siblings.
Go watch The Incredibles 2, guys.
Incredibles 2 is the best anime. So, yeah, you don't think it's really going to be diluted by, like, Western culture, but...
I'm more worried about live action stuff being diluted.
Yeah, I think, like, especially after stuff like the Ghost in the Shell movie, do you think that Western studios are going to jump in and try and make more of these anime that are becoming more successful between cultures? Do you think that we're going to see not a live action from Japan, but a live action interpretation from America?
It obviously
similar to Death Note.
It depends on the money they're going to make from it.
It's true, but
everything comes
clearly
out of
Your Name did pretty well.
They did pretty well, and that's why I heard rumors of the live action version of it, but a lot of people hated that idea. It's like, it's a good anime and it was shown all over the world. You don't need a live action version for it.
But let's be fair, any change in the anime industry pretty much causes straight up outrage. Like Steve Blum, mentioned before, the voice actor for Spike Spiegel, after filming Cowboy Bebop, was actually sent death threats. Not when the anime was released, but when it was announced that they were doing an English interpretation.
Yeah.
So... we're a pretty intense fan base.
Yeah, it's a very niche audience. It's growing though.
It's definitely changed a lot from the stereotypes that have forged it.
Yeah,
but
which is not something I want to talk about. We'll talk about that before.
Do you think that are there any Western movies that have done well in the inverse? Has there been anything that's come out that you know of that's done really well in Japan? Like. It's sort of a random sidewinder to throw, but it feels like that doesn't happen in the inverse. Something takes off in Japan and we all love it, but
it doesn't really happen a lot. I mean, there has been some series that have gotten recognition from like
Ruby,
stuff like that. They've gotten recognition of being like just as good as like it's just because it's such a thing where it's like, this is Japanese, like this is the Japanese sort of like that they do it. It's
so
not,
you think it comes down
like
to
you can't be a Western person and make it an anime. Like it's a cartoon you made.
Yeah, so it comes down to like a cultural style of storytelling.
Yeah. They're the same thing, obviously. They're the same. A cartoon and an anime, they're the same thing. It's just it's an animation.
It's like what we talked about in topic 1. If you haven't seen it, there's a link in the description.
It's
the idea that a lot of Japanese movies tend to be fables and have like these sort of lessons ingrained in them. I feel like Your Name does that especially well. It's something about letting go. It's something about learning to empathize with other people. And that's not really something that we see in Western culture.
I think Disney moviys
do that
pretty well.
I see that as an exception, but Disney movies actually do that really well.
But they know Disney is just like they own everything. They know what they're doing.
Disney and Ghibli sort of are opposite sides of the same coin when it comes to that, because they are pretty much the two that are mentioned in animation that have a world-reaching.
Honestly, like if I was offered like to work with Disney for anything, I'd probably do it.
You'd be mad not to.
You'd be mad.
Ultimately, do you think that we'll see more stuff like Your Name taking off? Like, are there any other movies coming up that you see really getting the push that they gave with Your Name? Because it seemed unprecedented that they threw so much into it before it even hit.
I reckon it's just luck. Honestly, it's just luck, because we haven't seen anything like Your Name before Spirited Away. Like, you had Spirited Away, and then there was not really a lot of
Spirited Away sort of got people looking at it.
Yeah.
The occasional one was
it was really good.
Wow, Howl's Moving Castle is cool.
It was a really good movie, and it did really well. I mean, I'm sad that Howl's Moving Castle wasn't shown as well. It was a really good movie too, but it's just a matter of luck. And how to obviously marketed the anime, the merchandising sold, and all that sort of stuff, because like they don't make a lot of money for the amount of work they do on these things.
For sure.
And that the merchandising and all that sort of side of it is what actually makes them the money.
Definitely.
I think we've touched on the subject before that a lot of the anime and stuff that we think is mainstream
is actually not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not in Japan. So
we're pretty much just watching what they're making for a Western audience.
Yes.
Like under the guise of it being Japanese.
Yeah, this is Japanese. Everyone in Japan's watching. No, not really.
People in Japan are watching Lupin and
I mean, they're One Piece.
Conan.
You're probably One Piece and stuff as well is pretty big.
Why do they do that for Conan? I think it's because he's tiny and annoying and pointless. Conan is dumb.
Well,
no, forever.
But like, was it One Piece is probably a decent one that would be shown a lot. I haven't been to Japan, guys. Just by the by.
But that's going to change very soon.
Yes, actually, next month
we'll be talking about that probably in the next podcast. We've got a very live action centered thing coming up. But no, that's really something that I wanted to talk about with this. It was just like, it seemed like it was either a trend that was going to take off or something that I was completely unbeknownst to me.
It's just I think it's just luck. They might get lucky again, but we've only seen, this is 2 now that have actually won awards and stuff and have been shown all over the world, like really well knownly. Like, I
would like to see that more. I would like to see international releases outside of like an art center style.
Like actually you can just go down to a local cinema and it'll be shown for like ages just at there, like sort of deal.
And I mean, the only other times that happens is when you've got like a Naruto movie, or I remember Yu-Gi-Oh had a huge movie, as well as of course Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragon Ball and Pokemon, all are mainstream.
Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon are sort of they were a lot easier to sort of market
because video games,
games and all that. So
cheese TV.
That's fine, but if you have an anime that doesn't have any of that,
which is why I think Your Name was such a big shake-up with a lot of people in our industry of being online.
And it's hard to like sell merchandise for those sort of movies as well. Like,
you're gonna buy a schoolgirl outfit. It's weird.
Or you're gonna buy like you're literally just gonna be buying like the DVDs mostly, most of them, and I wouldn't buy a figurine or something from them. Like, I don't think like it's a good anime. I'd probably buy the DVD, yes, but would I buy any of that sort of stuff? Probably. Well,
it's on Netflix now. Pretty much everywhere, so I think we're going to see a resurgence of it, which is what made me think about this topic, to be completely honest.
A topic that we should bring up at a later date would be how anime are made, because I know a lot about that. I have actually people who work in the industry and how much like their companies sort of make and stuff, just from like talking to them.
I think that'd be a really fascinating breakdown.
Yeah, because like, there's a lot of stuff that sort of happens where people don't really get it. Like, they don't get how... Oh, they just think...
Well, like in my previous rant on not liking CG.
Yeah.
You made me understand why CG is a thing.
Yeah.
Which is why I like this little topic part.
I don't really like CG,
sort of quizzing you about what's in the industry as a person who doesn't.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be really interesting to come back to a topic similar to this if any other movies blow up.
Just like a solid, narrow point on the money sort of aspect of stuff, because I'm more of a business person anyway, and I like marketing, so I like that sort of thing. So we'll discuss that. And
next time an anime movie blows up, it'll be really interesting to look back at this and sort of compare to the circumstances that led to it. That's why I was kind of hoping to make a time capsule of what it was now versus when the next one comes, be it in a year or in 10.
What I think would be the go is, once we get another one that actually does really well, is look back and see the formula behind it, how that actually has happened. Look at all like the side. It's like, how's the marketing? How is the animation done? Who's the studio was done by and all that. Add all those different variables together and then try and figure out why that's done so well for that. Because you can do all that sort of mathematics and research for it, and you can get a pretty good idea of why it's like that. But
it's definitely a lot of meticulous planning because, as I said, Your Name was advertised way beforehand, before it even really came out. So
and that's
they felt like they had a winner, and I'm curious as to why.
That's why I keep saying good marketing on their part. They just did it really well. They showcased it, and I mean, it was Sword Art Online. As much as a lot of people don't like it, They do really good marketing because they market their animes like way in advance.
They have anime, they have video games, they have merch.
Tons of stuff, and they're really profitable. As much as, again, well, I don't know why people hate them, but whatever. They're really profitable. It is what it is. I think they're good. They're somewhat good. But
that's really all we have to say about this topic. I really like interviewing you about this style, these things that I don't know. And if you guys know any other movies that you felt blew up that we didn't mention, because we really only talked about 2, throw them in the comments. We'd like to hear about it. We'd like to discuss it with you. We're always down there. We're replying. We're chatting. We love hearing from you guys and keeping that discussion going. So that brings us to the end of our podcast.
I think I might put a little quick note there. If you guys would like to just speak to me like on the one-on-one sort of aspect, just email us at animechartreviews@gmail.com. And you can just send me any questions there if you have something really in particular that you would like to say, or if you have a suggestion for a podcast. As much as I'd like you to comment down below as well. If you don't like commenting on some videos,
or if you want a more direct feed, straight to us, then
go there. Glad to answer any of your questions. It's always fun for me. I do get it quite a lot nowadays.
That's good. Our audience is growing, and we love all of you guys. You guys make this possible, so we're extremely thankful. And with that, we will see you next week.
See you guys.
The next episode. Peace out.